This is the newsNOW Zambia main news bulletin. I am Judy Jones. Here is the news. The Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Sitembiko Muzokotweni, has clarified reports that the supplementary budget, which was approved by Parliament on Friday, had a lot of errors. In his debate on the supplementary budget on Friday, Chinzoli Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalawi Mukosa, stated that he had noticed many errors in the budget document. Here is a report.
The Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Sitembiko Muzokotweni, has clarified reports that the supplementary budget, which was approved by Parliament on Friday, had a lot of errors. In his debate on the supplementary budget on Friday, Chinzoli Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalawi Mukosa, stated that he had noticed many errors in the budget document.
Honorable Minister, this document that I'm holding right here has serious anomalies. I have tried to check on a lot of amounts that have been put under budget allocation, which we expect to find also in this yellow book, which I have with me. Here. There is a lot of discrepancies. Madam Speaker, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, this is page 14 of this document. Honorable Minister, you came here in the House and you told us that the allocation for CDF for this year, it was 28 million for each constituency. 28 million multiplied by 156 constituencies, it is going to give you 4.4 billion kwacha. And that amount is indicated here in the yellow book. The amount, to be specific and exact, is 4,416,968,713. That is the amount that we allocated. Okay? That is for CDF. And here, your document, Honorable Minister, it is saying we allocated 2,662,126,256. Where are these anomalies coming from?
However, Dr. Muzokotweni at a press briefing on Sunday stated that contrary to the views expressed by the Chinzoli MP, there were no errors at all. He says Parliament would not have gone ahead to approve a defective document.
I did respond there and then that in fact the errors that the Honorable MP was talking about, there were no errors at all. Okay? There were no errors at all. He assumed there were errors because he himself did not understand the table that was referring to where he said there were errors. Had he come on the sidelines to ask for clarification, we would have clarified how the table is structured. But he went to say there were errors, and in Parliament, I did respond, explaining that in fact there were no errors. It was just him who was misinterpreting the numbers that he was looking at. I believe that the explanation was made adequately, and in the end, him and others were debating in that manner that there were errors. They were fully satisfied with the explanation, and therefore, this is how the supplementary budget was passed unanimously without further questions. In the 2023 budget, the one that we're implementing now, in the 2023 budget, of course, we provided a total sum of 4.4 billion kwacha for CDF. 4.4 billion kwacha for CDF. So that was total amount under CDF. But CDF comes in a number of components, if you recall. Some of the components under CDF include the free education that we're providing to its constituencies that has enabled children to go to secondary school without paying anything. That is a component of CDF. Another component, I think, is the empowerment program. The empowerment program is the one that we give loans per constituency and also grants per constituency. That is a separate component, part of CDF. The bulk of this CDF of 4.4 was earmarked for roughly 2.7 billion kwacha for community projects. 2.7 billion kwacha for community projects. Community projects include things like building classrooms, building teachers' houses, building clinics, building houses for the workers in the clinics to occupy.
Revelation News.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has announced that President Hakainde Hichilema, accompanied by the First Lady, Mrs. Mutinta Hichilema, will undertake a state visit to the State of Israel from July 31 to August 2, 2023, at the invitation of Mr. Isaac Herzog, President of the State of Israel. In a statement made available to newsNOW by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Mr. Stanley Kakubo, President Hichilema's visit not only marks a significant milestone towards strengthening the bilateral cooperation between Zambia and Israel, it also serves to reinforce the enduring alliance grounded in shared values and mutual aspirations for prosperity between the two nations. The Health Professions Council of Zambia, in line with the institution's 2022-2026 strategic plan, is committed to the regulation of healthcare at all levels for public protection. Speaking during a media briefing on Friday in Lusaka, the Registrar Officer Professor Fastwan Goma says HPCZ has maintained an open-door policy with various stakeholders WHI.
And I think we would want to, through you, get to the students themselves, that they ought to know that there are consequences to doing otherwise. For them to be authenticated as trainees in the health professions, they need to get from us what is called an index number. It's a very, very important number, because that is the number they are going to use to come and sit the licensure examination in their profession. If they don't have that number, there's no way they will sit that licensure examination.
A Lusaka-based economist, Yusuf Dodia, notes the need for the government, through the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, to work with Cabinet to come up with laws and regulations on revenues coming into the country from exporters. Malanjin Zambala now reports.
The country has seen an increase in the annual rate inflation for the month of July 2023 compared to June 2023, according to Zambia Statistics Agency Interim Statistician General Mlenga Msepa. The increase in the annual rate of inflation was mainly attributed to price movement in carpenter, milk, cheese, and eggs, among others. This has been received with mixed feelings from different people in the country. Among them is a Lusaka-based economist, Yusuf Dodia, who disclosed that the revenues that are coming into the country in terms of foreign currency are not predictable, because they are determined by the huge exporting companies, and therefore government is always at the mercy of the mining exporters and huge commercial farmers, among others.
Okay, the inflation rate being reported to be now double-digit figures, moving from 9.8% to over 10% towards the end of July, is an indication of the high cost of doing business in Zambia, and therefore it is something that has been expected. We have seen the Zambian kwacha beginning to deteriorate over the last 1 month or so. when we saw the kwacha gaining strength, this was at the end of the second quarter. And one of the reasons why the kwacha would gain strength at the end of the second quarter of the year is because many of those huge international companies that are exporting products from Zambia would be bringing in foreign currency in order to meet their tax obligations at the end of the quarter, their rental obligations, and other fees that they have to pay at the end of each quarter. And therefore you get that influx of foreign currency which strengthens the kwacha. But now that we have come into July and we are seeing the kwacha getting weaker, it starts to impact on the inflation rate, and we begin to see the inflation rate going up. But
Mr. Dodger further states that once government puts in place mechanisms that can predictably highlight how export earnings are coming into the country, then the country will begin to see stability.
This is something that we need to be very careful about. We need to get to a situation where we can have predictability, and predictability will come from having laws that determine the rate of foreign currency that comes into the country, and that will stabilize inflation and even stabilize the value of the kwacha against foreign currencies.
Mangi Nzombola reporting.
The ablution block at the Mangu Central Market has become a danger to marketeers operating at the market. One of the marketeers affected, Mr. Mwangula Mubiana, who is a timber trader in the Central Market, is appealing to the local authority to work on the ablution block, which has become hazardous to life. More in the following report.
This is the situation at Mungu Central Market, timber section, where these marketeers are operating at an unhealthy condition after a septic tank has busted, leaving them in the hazardous situation. And some marketeers here have complained over the bad smell, which has taken more than 3 weeks.
Ni butata wolunze rufumana faali mu toilet mwendiro lolubulera fa mwendiro akono kuba number 3 or number 4 ngerubira yala taba yeswana fachere seri challenge seri teni mwala musima oyinzi mo mubonawo omutuna tuna obatroyepa ke okwanisa faso ikwana sunda kona kuya abafeze fera kuyepa musimao kukalire kupomo kaze maso zezwa mwa toilet mo vaeteleli baluna basuteli kwa teni kwandu kuli batobo na manyandu aluna nuluvota kuli lufuma ni tuso kono lufelize kubota lubona kuli neba bakantu abalubali kuli baba izifaki batu.
And one of the marketeers, Mwangala Mubiana, is appealing to the local authority to expedite their works on the sewer tanks.
Kono inge batanga fera kutonangera bakuta banangera bakuta alubabuza kuli kinyize musa lukisezi kulofa bayelusa lukisa mwahali mwale kona lukoto lukisa kwanu chento yo iluzi elize kwanu lupirani banana lupirani luna kasubiri ka healthy lubona kuilunyandire kwanu ko luyinzi afitela nebe 2 to 300 baba berekera kwanu.
And others who spoke are Maliti Chinoya, Malaya Onyambe, and Eric Katongo, secretary at Timber Sections.
Abalutu eli butuku kubuyela lubuyela kalikaze maswe
fa alisika konda miazi rutabisi toilet ye aisika konda every day, every after 2 days toilet ye konju kufasulula mane kifa kele batoye pa musimao so ona ni sunda kuzofafa kuyepa kele vifasuluka kwale munko inzifa autabisi mane ke kuchachwana aruchi hande lukenwa kimatuku bakensa mezi ainzifa kambe kwa konala muso totali mafata baendi kukwala toilet ye
nisikwata sisi emela kansu kulumatila kwanu kwa msika kutoluseleza kama kolera alusutezi ukawafia amanyala lazoela mwa toilet.
Mino, getting a comment from the local authority felt fatal. Mosi Kabira reporting.